What I'd like to do is to invite you to meet our chair of the board of directors of MicroSkills, a very passionate and dedicated woman who really gives beyond the call of duty to our organization. So I'd like you to join me in welcoming Karen Webb, MicroSkills chair for the board of directors.
Thank you very much, and it's so wonderful to see so many people here today to participate in our discussion this morning. I was looking up the definition of social innovation in Wikipedia. I was mentioning this, Tony, this morning, that they actually say that there are many overlapping meanings, which means that there are many interpretations. So you are going to have a fantastic discussion this morning. I hope you participate as well. So I want to thank you all for getting up early this morning and for spending a couple of extra hours with us. It's our way of saying thank you for collaborating with us for the work that we do in the community. I'm a volunteer, as is the rest of the board, and there are a couple of other board members here with me today. And I can say that I'm very proud to be a part of this organization because of the great impact that MicroSkills has had in the community since 1984. And last year, in fact, they helped over 25,000 some of the more vulnerable people in our community build better lives, as they say, one client at a time through their wraparound services. So very proud to be associated with this organization. And I'm here to say thank you to all of you because many of you have been part of building those better futures for these people, especially as employers. It could be some of you have volunteers who have provided guest speakers to help people understand what it's really like to work in their field in Canada, help them with their job search, interview skills. We've had advisors helping us shape our programs so that they're very relevant to the marketplace and they have very marketable skills. There are some of you I know in the audience who have helped us with some innovative programs that are shaping, let's say, bridging people from technical skills from other countries into, there's someone here from Ryerson for the green economy, for instance. I think I saw someone for our supply chain program as well. Sorry, I'm not recognizing you by name, but these are just some of the examples and some of the ways that you have made such a meaningful impact for our clients, and of course, provided for some of you, some practicum, some real Canadian work experience, which is so important. Some of you have even hired some of our clients, which of course is incredibly important to them. And for us, helped us with our need for financial support. So thank you very, very much for all of that support. I want to give a special thank you to our sponsors today, Accenture and Cooperators. And we are thanking you with, in a small way, by feeding you breakfast, and we're going to be feeding you with some intellectually stimulating conversation this morning as well, to feed your brain. And we're going to have a panel, a fabulous panel, moderated by Mitzi Hunter, and I'll introduce her in a second. But before I do that, I want to tell you, this morning's about collaboration and innovation. So I have to take this opportunity to tell you about a story of collaboration and innovation at MicroSkills and the impact in the community. And this is also my lead-in to introduce you to a very, very special person. About 5 years ago, United Way published a now very famous report on basically looking how they take all those funds and how strategically do they use those funds. And it identified the fact that there are other areas other than the core downtown of Toronto where there are needs for programs. And they published this report about the 13 priority neighborhoods. And one of those neighborhoods is Rexdale. And Rexdale is where our main office is. And with that, and I don't know if you remember, very sadly, a summer of violence. And with that, many people approached MicroSkills and said, can you do something? In fact, United Way approached MicroSkills and said, let's try some innovation. What could you do with a program that we want to call Action for Neighborhood Change? How do we get at the root of this, and how do we make change in our community? So with that, and a lot of creative minds, a small fund, they located in Kipling Towers. So picture suburbs, brown towers, not very much landscaping and so forth, and you have a lot of people coming from all over the world, living in these places, feeling very isolated, partly by language, but also because that is one of the areas where, unfortunately, there was a lot of violence. So people were actually afraid to get out and meet people. So how do we engage all of these people? So fast forward, Kay was on an international trip with our then Governor General, Michaël Jean, and happened to meet an executive from the National Film Board, and they were doing a project on the urban landscape and what that meant. And out of that spawned an innovative project. And you can actually look at this online, called the Millionth Tower, because they won an award for this. But they wanted to record what was happening in these towers and how do you create a community out of these isolated towers. And from that, along the way, they brought along some architects, ERA architects, and they literally helped the residents engage by really literally envisioning and drawing out what this place could be like. What does a safe community look like, where you feel comfortable with your children being able to go outside and play in the playground, where your youth can participate in positive programs. You can even talk to each other, not be afraid of talking to your neighbors, and have a nicer place to live in, even having a garden where you can grow some of your traditional vegetables and so forth. So out of that, that vision started to become more and more of a reality. We'd like to think too with the foundation from our Action for Neighborhood Change and the amazing collaboration with, and I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody here, United Way was there. We had the City of Toronto with their Tower Renewal Program, the Humber Property Management, who obviously have a vested interest there in a safe resident. I'm probably missing some other people. We had some corporate sponsors as well. Foresters and Kaboom helped them in one day with 200 volunteers build a playground and clean up the grounds. So it was just incredible to see that transformation. And all of this, by the way, you can actually go on to the web to see the National Film Board's their Emmy Award-winning site, because it's also an interactive site called the Millionth Tower. And out of that too came CBC Radio, Metro Morning, who got wind of this and actually put on in February a 3-part series and visited the Kipling Towers. And out of that story, we engaged the rest of the city, and a young man who MicroSkills got to know through our programs at North Albion Collegiate, decided to write a poem about what it's like to live in Kipling Towers. And it's actually on the website if you Google Metro Morning as well, and you look up MicroSkills. And you'll hear about this young man, Darren Clark. So I want to introduce him, please, to read the poem that so inspired so many people.